16 and 17.
The Department of Labor is encouraging all Bahamian job seekers who hold a bachelor's degree to register immediately with the department. Bahamians with bachelor's degree register without delay, as there is now a great demand for such persons in various professions in the job market. Register now at the Department of Labor, Clarence Bean Building, Thompson Boulevard, or at the Robinson Road location, or at the Department of Labor in any family of Ireland. For more information, call 302-2550 or 302-2562.
5 o'clock, road rock, horse and carriage jitney. People around the radio, they want to listen to Steve McKinney on hard coffee, hard coffee, hard coffee. I'm coming with Steve McKinney, a man of conviction, Bahamian to the bone, a voice of the people, so call him on your phone. Hard coffee, hard coffee, hard coffee. I'm coming with Steve McKinney, da 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 da.
It is Thursday, the 14th day of the month of May 2015, as you battle the congested city streets and drive home traffic. We have fair skies for you, a little sunshine on the outside, nice blue skies in some parts, a good day for walking. Take the Walkman with you, though, so you can hear hard copy. 82 degrees on the outside right now in the nation's capital. There are some showers in the vicinity, small showers. A low tonight of 75 degrees. There's a rain chance later on this evening of about 10%. Thank you so much for joining us on the drive home. I'm Steve McKinney. This is Hard Copy. We're brought to you today by the Utilities, Regulations, and Competition Authority, ERCOT. Also by Bank of the Bahamas, the Bank of Solutions. BTC Every Day. Super Value, the All Bahamian Supermarkets. The McKinney Media Group for effective PR concepts and advertisements. 5-Star Films and Documentary. If you want it done right the first time, 5-Star Films. Island Made Products, Ministry of Tourism, the Department of Labor. Bachelor's degree notice. If you have a bachelor's degree, listen up. There's some jobs available for you right now. Mother to Mother Weekend, that's coming up. We'll talk more about it. Advantage Insurance and Brokers, 61 Collins Avenue. Super Wash with 11 locations open around the island 24/7. Ron's Electric Motors. Ron Frazier and Company on Claridge Road and Wolf Road. They can fix anything. Sky Bahamas, professionals in every way, every day. Kalina Financial Advisors Limited, CTAL, also by Executive Printers. Henry Store, the Light People on Mackey Street, and Live Blue, Ultra Pure Drinking Water, the official water of Hard Copy. Have you noticed how it seems as if there are those in the government who are working assiduously trying to clean up the situation here in the country with all the problems, as the government seems to be in a state of flux at times when it comes to the myriad of problems that they face in the governance. And of course, we look at the BAMSI report, we look at the many things like BAMSI, of course, this Rubis situation. You see how the government moves to try to clean it up and hope that it dissipates. You see the carnival thing. Everybody's now watching that with interest to see if the real results are what they say, or the projections by Paul Major will turn out to be what he forecasts that they will be in 21 days' time. You also see where the House Speaker stepped in now on this Public Account Committee and has really stopped them from moving in on Algernon Allen and, of course, Cynthia Mother Pratt, the co-chairpersons of this Urban Renewal 2.2, a small housing repair program. So a number of things are happening now in the mix as the government is trying to recalibrate. They're trying to pull things together and get a hold on the situation, get the reins of power in place. And that's what it looks like to me. I don't know what it looks like to you, but I asked you that question today. How well are they doing in trying to mitigate these many problems and circumstances that besiege them and that beset them in many regards, where people are believing that, hey, you know, these guys are, they're a dud. Nothing's happening for them. Can we talk about that today? And I'm opening my lines wide open for you today so that you can give me your comments and your opinions, because there are a number of things that are happening here. Some people are basically shocked that the Public Account Committee will not be able to get leverage to go behind Brother Algernon Allen and Sister Mother Pratt on this particular matter. Though a lot of things were not put in place the proper way, and though the Attorney General had said what she had said, or what the Attorney General's office, I should say, had said earlier about this particular problem, that, you know, they didn't do things the right way, and they had no jurisdiction, the Public Account Committee, to go and cause for this to happen, for them to have Mr. Allen or Mother Pratt come and face them and answer questions. So a lot of people are with mixed emotions on this, mixed views. They say, well, if there's nothing to hide and there's no big deal about what has happened, then both Mrs. Pratt and Mr. Allen should go and face them. Now that whole thing has changed. And that has changed because the Speaker of the House of Assembly did, in fact, do something what they call put a stay. He stayed the hand of the Public Account Committee, is how you may want to put it. And so they can't move to have anything done. And that's until, according to the Speaker of the House, Kendall Major, until the Parliament gets a good grip. And that's what we're talking about, getting a grip on things today. That's what the government is trying to do. They're trying to get a grip on things. Are they getting a grip on things? You be the judge. And you see that in not only that particular area with the Public Account Committee and the others that I mentioned, but you also see it on the BEC situation. A lot of speculation, a lot of talk in the media about this Power Secure Group. That's an American firm out of New York that trades on Wall Street. And of course, this particular group is said to be in a position where they had kind of like polished up and boasted their image to say that they were doing something at a particular level when many questions were being asked, and they were even before the courts in the United States and that kind of stuff. And nobody had heard about this until they were named as the group that will do the management of BEC. You know the story that Leslie Miller told us right off the top that, hey, nobody told him anything. He never even knew about this group. This came from nowhere off the radar into his real life and into his reality. And as it came into his reality, as he exposed it on this show early in the week, it meant then that a lot of things came to our attention. One of them was that Brave Davis, who is his immediate boss in the Ministry of Works and who Leslie Miller answers to, Brave Davis obviously met with the union, along with the Prime Minister, met with the union and the management team of BEC. They did not meet with the executive team that they appointed, which is really how it ought to go. But they met with the management team and the union, and guess what? The management team and the union then informed the board that they were no longer important. Isn't that interesting? So now we see where it seems that Brave Davis has gone back and tabled something in the House of Assembly that says they are really getting in deep. These are my words. I'm kind of like cutting it short so you can get through the chase and understand what's happening. That they're really getting in deep and signing a specific kind of a deal with this group that's going to come to manage BEC, and they will release the particulars in short order, I suppose, as to what their real job will be, how they will be managing, what's required of them, if they're going to be providing generation of electricity, the whole 9 yards. And so we're waiting on that. Now, that's only because, friends, that's only because the public have been asking questions and making noise as to really what's going on. Do you guys have a grip? You follow? And not only that, it's obvious that the government is now trying to start a step and go in a different direction. Why? They're trying to pivot and they're trying to recalibrate. Why? Because the people are now on their case with the reality check. The reality check now has come after the big carnival, where some people who run the carnival still are talking numbers that are seemingly wild and crazy and full of fantasy. But now that the government has heard the cries of people on these shows, especially Hard Copy, saying, look, you got to get down to brass tacks and get some things fixed. So they're trying to fix Bahama by Christie negotiating with the players to get them to see eye to eye and move forward, while that program seems to be in a state of limbo. And then we see Brave Davis is now moving quickly to try to fix this matter and this perception with the Power Secure group with BEC to try to smooth that over. And then we see the man in the House of Assembly, the Speaker himself, who is a neutral entity, by the way, in this regard. Though he is an elected member of the Progressive Liberal Party and represents Garden Hills, he is neutral in this. And he says, look, there's going to be no further movement of probing by the Public Account Committee based upon the information that he would have received from the opinion of the Attorney General's office. So you see, I bring these things up to tell you that all of the problems that Christie and his administration may be having now may be dwindling or may be corrected in short order because they hear what you say They know that they're not on top of the game at a number of things, and they're now trying to fix it. Do you get that picture? Can they fix it? Is it too overwhelming? Will it still ride them into a bad sunset? Will it still give them a bad name? Let's talk about it today because, sometimes governments need a lot of pressure on them to react. And maybe this week they've gotten enough pressure about how serious things are in this country that they're beginning to show some signs that they may be trying to do some stuff. Now, see, there's a difference of trying to do some things to correct it, taking corrective measures. But the first premise in taking corrective measures is to come up front, be clean, be transparent, be accountable, and be honest. Do you get that picture? Do you feel that is what is happening now? Talk to me now, because we're going to open our lines today, and we want to hear all that you have to say, because there are others who believe that, things are not as good as they ought to be, and that the government is still making a whole lot of mistakes. Now, while this is happening, something else is going on here that may get your attention, and it may not get, because I don't understand how the tourism website could be hacked. If it's been hacked, what is on the website so to be hacked? Isn't there just promotional stuff on that website? Or am I mistaken? Or was Christie on the floor of the House of Assembly saying that tourism accounts has been hacked or hijacked or whatever, or compromised? See, my thing is that if a website has been hacked, I'm trying to figure out how big of a damage is that, since a website is a public domain that people can go to and get good services and information from it. Was it hacked and being morphed to use for some other country? I mean, what does it mean it's being hacked? I mean, I don't know too much about computers myself. I'm a part of the dinosaur age, I suppose, but I'm sure Christie is part of the Jurassic age as far as these things are concerned. Did he say it right? Does he mean that the tourism website that's up there displaying beautiful things for the Bahamas has been hacked? And what does that mean? How important is that? Is that important enough to stop the House of Assembly? Maybe it's just me. Maybe I don't understand it. Maybe you can give me some clarity on it. Because if the website has been hacked by whom, hacked for what purpose, and what damage can be done? Unless the Ministry of Tourism's website that he's talking about is a financial website that deals with money matters, transactions, and stuff like that. And I don't know if you can put that on the website, or do you? I'm green to it. Please help me, because I don't know. Now, this is perhaps an assignment for the young man of the Grand Bahama, who we call C. Allen Johnson. What does it mean that the website has been hacked, and what are the damage? What's the pending damage? What is the danger? Because Christie said on the floor of the House that they even stopped the House, by the way, because of this news. And he said the website was hacked, which means now that it's a national security matter, is what Christie said. Does it make any sense for you young computer buffs and people who know about internet and all that? Help Steve, because, like I said, I don't make no pretense here. I know some things, but, really, I don't know if that means that we are in danger because a website has been hacked. Help me. Help. 325-023546, 325-024243, 325-025253. What's the danger in it being hacked? But you see, that in itself may be another distraction. Lord knows we need no distractions. What we need is focused attention on the problems that we have. Because there's a big problem that we have in the country, Nobody's talking about it. And as I talk today, you can call me. Let's talk, man. I feel like talking today. Do you feel like talking about these things? Because the truth is, Brother Irvin, my producer, what is one of the biggest things that's happening here now? There's talk about, from William Pratt and Company and immigration, talking this stuff that they're going to give belongers permit to people who they've already said by this new law that came in November of last year, 2014, that if you don't have status, you have to get a permit to go to school and work and all that kind of stuff. But now if they come behind that, and I believe people miss this, if they come behind that and give a belongers permit, can they really collect people now for repatriation? Think about it for a second. I know it's heavy. Think about that for a second. Can they do that? The belongers permit that they're talking about, the first thing is this. If they take everybody who now says that they're here, and there are more illegals here than there are legals, the illegals in the Bahamas outnumber the legal people. Be real. And I'm not talking about just one nationality. I'm talking about all of the illegals, and there are a number of them. Peruvians, Jamaicans, Puerto Ricans, Americans, Canadians, Haitians, all of that. Cubans, everybody is here. A lot of illegals are here. You think it's just Haitians, but a lot of illegals are here. Now, if they do outnumber the legals, we have a problem because nobody who is illegal has any jurisdiction under a legal law. See, the law is not about illegality. Anything that's under the premise of something illegal is not lawful. So if you're looking at a bunch of illegal people there obtaining belongers permit, then we have got the whole thing screwed around wrong again. Why? Because you cannot take what is illegal and make it legal because you want to give some people belongers permit. If they are here illegally, if their parents came here illegally and they are illegal, they do not qualify to get any belongers permit. You see the problem with the law? Or the problem with some people's thinking that they can just do as they feel to have this problem go away because it's an ugly problem and we want to resolve it and we want to appease some people in America and at the United Nations in particular, that we are not cruel and inhumane, and so we're going to fix this by giving people belongers permit. Who gets a belongers permit? People who are illegal? Because there are many of them who are here. And if they get belongers permit, then they belong here. They're here legally, just like that. But maybe it's only me again. Maybe it's like the website. I don't get it. Can somebody help me to get it today and put me on the right track? 325-0235 or 6. That's a big story there with this belongers permit thing. Big. But no one is talking about it. And immigration is the most important priority the country has right now. Crime and immigration go hand in hand, and this bad economy. We know that the economy is really bad because we see the fallout if something goes wrong with this delicate, this very, very delicate eggshell situation with Bahama. By the way, somebody speaking on the condition of anonymity would have informed one of the local papers today that the other people who spoke on anonymity don't know what the hell they're talking about when they say that Bahama has problems with money and that they may be, going into the state of limbo. In fact, it was the Bahama Journal today that put a story out that says Bahama slams inaccurate reports. And Wendell Jones's paper, the Journal, says that Bahama officials said recent reports attributed to an unnamed source asserting that the resort is unlikely to open this year and likely to run out of cash are inaccurate. But this person is not saying who they are. Cat and mouse game, eh? But it's all for us all to see. It's right there for everybody to see. Are they doing good or are they doing bad? Are you confident in what's happening with Bahama, or are you lacking confidence based upon what you've been reading, not only in the traditional newspapers or listening to on hard copy, but also in the tabloids? And let us be frank, and you know this. Ivan Johnson from The Punch, when he puts a story out along those lines, and he's saying things like there's the Ganting Group, they also deny this to the day. The Ganting Group says that they don't know anything about trying to be a backup for this fallout with Bahama and Ismaili, that they don't know anything about it, that they're not even interested in that. That is what my sister friend, Michelle Malcolm, who was once upon a time a colleague with me at ZNS, we did the news together. Shelley says that ain't so. She's the person who represents the group at the Bimini Resort, you see, in Bimini. And she says that is not so. And I question, I said, I got to call Shelley because I don't know if Shelley would know what's happening at that particular level. This is a level where Christian does hang out. This level of money business to assist another group that's in trouble is at another level. That's not at a PR level. That's at another level where the big boys sit with cigars and their smoking jackets and their coffee, and they decide that, hey, this may be a good move for you to make. Because we know that Ganting Group got lots of monies on spare. They got some monies on reserve just sitting there in case something like that happens, they can get a play. And they are interested. And Christie would be interested in making sure that there's a contingency plan based upon what we know with Bahama and the money problems. But this person who's talking to the Journal today says that they're all inaccurate reports. And the people don't know what they're talking about. The newspapers, they say, don't know what they're talking about. Well, we'll see. Hard copy, how you doing?
Hey, Mr. McKinney, how you doing?
Peace and love, all is well.
I called to find out and ask a question about the Minister of Security, National Security.
Yes, that's Dr. the Honorable Bernard Knowledge.
I would like to know, has he forgotten about the three Marines who had lost their lives? I heard nothing about it.
Yeah, well, we were having carnival, man. Now listen, you know that we were having carnival. What's wrong with you? May 10th meant nothing. May 10th meant nothing. We acknowledge it on our station, but May 10th meant nothing to anybody for the Marines who lost their life in the sinking of Flamingo some 30-some years ago, eh? No, it doesn't mean anything to people who are busy about trying to shake and whine and get down low and things like that. What are you talking about? Why do you want to be why do you want to be a party pooper? Why do you want to be a party pooper?
Very cool, man, Mr. Kenny, man. You take it easy, man. Good joy.
I appreciate it. 325-023546, 325-024243, 325-025253. You can text me today, friends, at 376-9234. And please call me. You got me in a good mood today. I'm all ears. I'm listening to what you have to say. And I asked you a couple of questions. Do you think that the Christie government is now pivoting to catch themselves and get rid of all this nasty stuff that's been happening in media to them? Do you think that they are able now to get rid of all that, get that monkey off their back, so to speak, and move with great precision in a progressive fashion from here on into 2017? Or do you think that they will not be able to wiggle out of this because the Free National Movement seems to have redoubled their efforts to keep on bringing up all the stuff? And the media, some media houses, they're not giving them any break either. They're on their case, and correctly so. That's what the press is for. I'm not hitting the press for it. I'm just saying that maybe if Christie and those could get their PR right, maybe if Christie and those will just stop everybody from talking all over the place and put a team together of young, able-bodied cabinet ministers and ministers of state who know what they're talking about and get in a huddle. Get in a huddle and decide this is the way forward. They must do it. Anytime a team is playing, anytime a team, baseball, basketball, football, what does the coach do? The coach calls timeout. They want to reorganize themselves. Let's catch ourselves quick. Are they doing that in the PLP? Are they doing that in this governing party at this particular time? Because they surely need a timeout. They need to make some substitutions. Substitutions in the political case means, some shuffle. Take somebody out, put somebody else in. They need to give some people a timeout. They need to tell the point guard in the case of basketball that you're not dribbling this ball properly. You're dribbling the ball too much. You need to pass this ball and let's score some points. Are they doing that? Because the media is a part of the defensive strategy. The defense team of the opposition, media is getting a lot of stuff and they're saying, look at this, look at that, look at that. And before these guys can devise some kind of a play to make sure they can mitigate their way through against this whole nonsense, they're inundated with all kinds of problems. And the time is running out. We are in the final quarter of this ball game. And the clock's ticking away, and we are wondering, when are these guys going to call a timeout, for crying out loud? Timeout, Chief. Here's what we need to do. Now, we've seen some things of timeouts today. The Speaker deciding that the Public Account Committee, nothing happened for them, they get a stay. That Algernon Allen and Mother Pratt cannot and must not and will not go before them at this time. We see Brave is trying to pull on the brakes of this BEC thing and say, look, we have gotten some people who are going to help us manage BEC. Never mind what Leslie Miller them crying about as the board, that we didn't do it right. What we are doing now, as Brave saying, we're going to get BEC managed properly, and that's going to be the be-all, end-all of the Bahamian people's problem. We're going to have a good time with lights on all the time, no power failures, everything is going to be fine. That's what Brave is saying. Do you believe it? Well, we have to wait and see. And then you see here where that guy whose name is Paul Major, who is basically, oh, goodness, he's from the Valley. I think he wants to be just like Christie. He may be a direct clone of Christie, for all I know. And I say that with love. And, Paul is still talking these numbers that I'm hoping that he wakes up tomorrow morning or this evening and says, wait a second, and call me live and say, Steve, you know what? I made a mistake. I was thinking, I don't know what I was thinking, but $60 million from the weekend here, I don't know. But I haven't gotten that call yet. So I'm counting down the days. 21 days, and we're down now to 17 days from the time he made the statement. Friends, what are your thoughts? Are we calibrating? Are we recalibrating? Do you feel any sense that we're getting it together now? Do you feel any sense that the government has decided that the party is over, real life has begun, this is the reality? Do you get that impression? Let's talk. 325-023546. Hard copy, how are you?
Hey, Steve, how are you?
Very good, thanks.
Listen, I want to talk about, you mentioned that the Haitians born, the immigrants born here are illegal. What make them illegal?
They're illegal because their parents were not legal.
No, but that don't make them illegal.
Well, then you straighten me out because I'm looking at the Constitution. I want you to read Article 7.
And what does Article 7 say?
Article 7 talks about those persons who are born to non-residents, or non-citizens of the Bahamas, okay, who are in fact born of non-citizens in the Bahamas would be entitled to, at the age of 18, to apply for citizenship.
But it doesn't say that they are illegal, does it?
Yeah, but listen, my brother, if you don't have citizenship and your mom buying had no citizenship here, okay,
So let me ask you this.
you ain't legal. You get that?
Yeah, let me ask you this, Mr. McKinney.
Uh-huh.
If I was born to somebody who has a work permit, am I illegal?
Yeah.
But I fit the same category. Am I illegal, you say?
Yes, you are.
If I
Because the law is, and this is technical. Let me just guide you here. Read the Constitution. If you read Article 7, you will see what it says all the way through about those persons who, if the law had applied itself, if we had followed the subscription of the Constitution, you would have seen that anybody coming here really cannot have children here on work permit. And if they did, they have a right to register that child at the time of that birth. And that child has a right then to apply for citizenship if they want to be a Bahamian citizen at the time of them reaching the age that they are eligible. See, this is a country of laws, my brother. You think that if this was not the case, that you wouldn't have Tom, Dick, and Harry from every country in the world coming here to have children?
Mr. McKinney, I think you're wrong with that because anyone
You
born
think?
in the
Well,
Bahamas,
hold on. If you think I'm wrong, you give me your
anyone
version.
born in the Bahamas. See, you never see immigration arrest a child
Yeah,
and send
well,
a child home.
my brother, I haven't seen immigration do their jobs what they're supposed to do. You're right.
Hold on now, because
That doesn't
immigration
mean-
doesn't have the
that doesn't-
authority to arrest a child. See, even if that
Listen.
child is sent back to Haiti.
The immigration
Let me-
authorities.
One minute. If immigration even sends that child back to Haiti,
Mhm.
that child can actually hop on a plane and come back to the Bahamas, and they would not refuse that child entry.
Listen. You probably know what you're talking about from experience, but I can tell you what the law talks about. And that's
But
why,
doesn't- the-
wait
the
a second,
law does not make them illegal.
wait
See,
a second, my friend.
illegal.
Wait a second. I'm telling you something. You need to listen.
Okay, I'll go ahead.
At the time of any illegal in this country, even right now, if you just came illegally, you and your girlfriend illegal, as an example, and she had a baby just now, do you know what the law is supposed to do? The law of the Bahamas is supposed to make sure that that baby is registered, that baby was born here. Okay? But guess what else? You and that same woman who had that baby on the next boat up. You know what we have done? We have not done it because we've been kind-hearted and say,
That's
well,
what,
yeah,
that's what
hold on, man.
they should
Hold
do
on,
that.
hold on, my friend. Hold on. You hear what you say? They should do that.
They should do that.
And they haven't been doing it. And that's why you are sitting here today telling me that you ain't checking what Article 7 says because you believe by your own logic. that
Article
because we-
7 does not
because-
make the child illegal. Any lawyer
Listen.
will tell you that.
Listen, my friend,
He will tell you that.
all I'm saying to you is this, okay? If you want to challenge that, I will bring you on a show and we'll sit
Alan,
down.
see, you understand something. You have never seen even the 18-year-olds who go ahead and break the law, persons over 18 who go ahead and break the law, Mr. McKinney. You don't want to see them being deported out of the country, do you?
My brother, you're talking two different things. You're talking about what happens in a.
I'm talking about
Listen,
somebody who has not
you
applied.
you are talking about a preponderance of illegal things that have been happening that we've allowed to take place because we didn't have the nerve, the courage to do the right thing. That's what you're talking about. That doesn't make it right. The multiplicity of wrongdoings does not make one right.
See, for something to be wrong, the law has to make it wrong.
Yeah, and the wrong thing is that you brought yourself in here illegally. You didn't check into the borders properly, and so you are illegal. That's the law.
You might bring you here to the hospital.
No.
You do something by yourself.
See, you want to start from there, and I just told you how that works. I just told you, but you don't want to have that. You want to argue with me. My brother,
I will tell you, what not trying to tell you, Mr.
No, you ain't trying to tell me nothing because I know it. You can't tell me nothing about it.
Please listen to it because I'm pretty.
No,
pretty
you're pretty wrong about it.
Ben.
The one thing that's for sure is that you're pretty wrong about what you're talking about. Okay?
You can't be wrong.
I can, but I'm not. Good. Yeah, you think it's jokey? Imagine that. People come illegally, have children. He believed because the child was born here now to illegal parents that the child has rights and the child is legal. I mean, let's be real. This is where the problem is with Pratt and those right now. The immigration talking about they're going to give people belongers permit. The first thing you've got to do is find out if there are people here legally. We have a law. It's so simple. Anyway, 325-0235 or 63250-242 or 43. Notice how he zeroed right in on Haitian nationals. But I want to give him another example. To get the poor Haitian national. The other example is the Peruvians or some other fair-skinned people. We get them all the time. Cubans, Mexicans, Americans, blah, blah, blah. You figure that and see the other thing in comparison, any child born anywhere in the world to Haitian parents, they could be illegal in Timbuktu. If the Haitian parents are illegal in Timbuktu, America, the Bahamas, Canada, wherever, that child is a Haitian national. That child has a passport that he can get through because of nationality. Every country has it differently. Not because you're born here, like how you say, you can go to the States and have a baby in America, that baby is an American citizen based upon the fact that they're born on the ground. No, they don't work like that here, buddy. Don't get it mixed up. Don't get it twisted. We got a different set of laws. And that's why I refer them to Article 7. Don't just read what that says about people being able to apply for citizenship. Read the whole thing through. There are many other subsections to that gives you the recipe as to what has to happen in certain circumstances. You come on talking about you believe. Listen, his premise is this. He believes because two people come here illegally, had a child, and the baby born here, that baby has a right here, and that baby is not illegal. Well, he's in La La Land. Hard copy, how are you?
Hey, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon to you. I heard the caller, right? He is dead wrong, and I agree with you. You have to read the Constitution to understand that. But sometimes you understand who these people are who's speaking. They talk like you and they speak like me. And if you really,
yeah, but let's still get into that. And we know it is interesting that he used another scenario of Haitians because I said earlier today, just like the governor of the Bahamas, this is not about Haitian nationals. This is about everybody. The Haitians don't have a lockdown on being the biggest illegal people here. They are, but there are other illegals here too. And when the law of the Bahamas is going to be administered in a way to deal with those persons who are illegal, we're not just talking Haitian nationals. See, that's somebody who's trying to side swap where we're going.
Yeah, but Steve, the minister made it clear that this is why they bought him this belongers permit. Like he told them, you must get it, understand it. You're not a Bahamian until you apply. That's why the belongers permit came in place.
Well, that's on the citizenship matter.
Just as you're born, we wouldn't need that.
If we did, my friend organizer, if we did what we were supposed to do based upon how our law is laid out, it seems almost cruel, and successive governments over the years have not had the willpower to deal with it. Okay, and so when you have people who come to our country illegal by boat or by plane, and they have a child in our hospital, they are supposed to register that child so that we can have a record of birth that the child was born in the Bahamas for whatever reason. They may be an American. Certainly, they're not going to want him to be a Bahamian because he born here. They want their child to be an American because they're proud of it. There are others who are using it as an anchor baby kind of situation, that they come deliberately to have it so that that child could be here. Pretty much like how some Bahamians.
Yeah,
pretty much like how some Bahamians go to America and have babies there so the baby could be an American.
While I'm speaking about this, Steve, I noticed this trend. There's a lot of Haitians that were deported from the U.S., right? They come here, they speak just like U.S. citizens. When you hear the last name, you know who they are. And they are more infiltrating the main sector. And I'm not saying that these people should not have the right to apply for a job, but when you're talking about a job such as a security officer, Steve, I mean, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. These people were reported, and I'm talking, but I have concrete evidence of this.
Yeah, but listen, I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate you. I really don't want to get into that because that's explosive, very emotive, and there are people who are lobbying like hell to have some say. I understand that, and I sympathize with them. But there are laws that we have that are now applicable on the books of the Bahamas that we are now carrying out, and they know exactly what they ought to do, whether they are an American, whatever they are. If they want to be here, they know exactly what to do. What is happening now with the number of things that they've done in the new immigration policies, they've given provisions just because we are so accommodating. You don't have to give no provisions for any of this. These people who are already here, if we were to be real tough, we pack them up and send them home. All of them. But we have been in a position of compromise, trying to make the best out of a bad situation because it's been a preponderance of this for many decades. And we all understand that. And there are children who don't know anything about where they belong because of their heritage and their parentage. And we understand that. So the government has taken all those things into consideration, and they've decided that they're going to do things at a point where you are going to be able to register if you're here to Haitian parents illegally so that you can go to school. And that's based upon the United Nations conventions, my friends. That's not based upon anything else other than that a child has a right to go to school and a right to an education and a right to health care. That's what we are under. That's a part of the situation that we're under, why we do certain things. But if we had the wherewithal with the courage to do things from our own immigration policies, the way it's designed and set up, and it's very fair, it's online with everybody else's, every other country's policy. It is just that because we are this small little country with the influx of the many people who are here, and we want to also exploit their labor and to have them work here and try to get along, that we have done some things, which is a mistake, but it's what we have done. So we live with that. But it doesn't mean that if you check and search the legality of things, that the Bahamas is in error. Foolishness. And that's why I'm telling you today that we have some problems. Fred mentioned those and John. Ask ourselves, how do you take something that's legal and say that's illegal and say that it's now legal because you want to just ease the tension? There is process. And any lawyer would tell you that. That's to the fellow who was talking that thing the other day, just now. But that's not where I want to go. I only brought that up to show you that we got bigger problems than these little problems that we have amplified and we can't seem to correct. And I'm telling you, you need to focus on what the immigration problems are and the immigration procedures at present so we can try to correct that one time. This is not about trying to beat up a Haitian or a Jamaican or anybody else, but the reality is what the reality is. And you got to understand that. And before you come calling, please check your Constitution and know what you're talking about as far as how you feel that because somebody was just born here, all of a sudden you go home with your mom and your daddy. If we were doing it that way, we wouldn't have the problem. But because we haven't been doing it, we've been waiting for 18 years. We've been, in other words, putting it off. Man, when they get 18, we have a right to reject them or accept them. But it has caused a preponderance of problems. Everybody here, they born here yesterday, the illegal parents, we didn't send them home. We can take them with mommy and daddy and you all go back to Haiti or go back to Jamaica or go back to America. We can do that. We haven't done it. And because we haven't done it doesn't mean that we can't do it. So get the difference. Hard copy, how are you?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hey, good afternoon, Mr. McKinney.
I listening.
Everything good there with you, sir?
Yes, sir.
Mr. McKinney, boy, I don't know what kind of people we have in this country who really support illegal immigration. Because, man, I can't see why they would support illegal immigration. Because if these people were law-abiding citizens, when they born their children, if they were not residents or, citizens of the Bahamas, they would carry children to the embassy and register them, right or wrong.
If they had permit some kind of working paper, yes, there's a process. But if they came in like most do and they come out of the bush and they have a baby and they do that deliberately in PMA so they can begin the process of compiling a record. That's why it's done.
And then we talk about these behemoths. No. Hold it. Go down, because that's just how, the old French saying say, come with your host that I may take it. If we allow these people who are uncivilized government structure to come in our country and infiltrate it, then we more stupid than them.
Yeah, well, and nobody really from certain countries, I appreciate you calling nobody from certain places in this region, though they may be the oldest of an independent and all that, can really say definitively dictate anything as far as civility is concerned to the Bahamians, or stability. Two different words: civility and stability. You know how long the Republic of Haiti has been in a state of flux, unstable? Come now. And the gentleman said it very easy just now, but he's absolutely right, There are people who have a mentality that this is how it's done because they've always been a part of a banana republic that really didn't really pay attention to law and order. And that's the mentality that we have. See, I'm going to tell you as it is. You don't have to like it. You can disagree with me and I can disagree with you, but I love you. All I'm saying to you is that appreciate some things, that there are laws. And I didn't bring them there. I met them there. And you met them there too. And we've got to appreciate what those laws are. Now, that's not to cause disparity, because I think that we've come a long way in trying to bridge the gap and try to make this bad situation work. But there's some people who want to challenge. They want to challenge the lawful system with their illegality. Please, the two have no place in the same boat. They want to challenge the lawful system with their concepts and ideology based on illegality. It don't work. It just don't work. Hard copy, how you doing today? Hi there, full lines, I'm listening. Okay, I'm really wanting to talk about where we are in the outlook of the picture of the Bahamas and the political picture of the Bahamas from a governance point of view. Have we seen where we have pivoted in a way with all these problems, the myriad of problems that we've been having? We've been saddled with the myriad of problems that we've been having. Problems at BAMSI, problems at this place, problems at that place. Do you sense that the government of the Bahamas, the music on them and trying to solve them, trying to clean them up? Do you feel that way? 325-0235 or 6, call me. Hard copy, how are you?
Mr. McKinney?
I'm listening.
How you doing?
Very good, thanks.
I just want to refer to something that a caller said a couple calls back.
Mm-hmm.
If a person was born here to illegal immigrants, and this person was born before July 10th, 73, then that person would be a citizen of the country.
Yeah, but he's talking. Yeah, go ahead, I'm listening.
But if a person has like a work permit, that doesn't qualify for citizenship.
No.
That person, that doesn't.
He can get status.
Reproduce and then become a citizen of the country.
Right.
That's not how it's done. It's not done like that.
No, but then see
to
that's
apply for citizenship at that rate. You get a work permit to work. That's legal to work, not to reproduce.
yes. Well, this is in keeping with all countries of the world,
Yeah, but that person who called and said,
well, that
what
person
if
is
I have
misguided.
A work permit.
That person is misguided.
That's not true.
He's
That doesn't
misguided.
work here.
That person is misguided.
Well,
Simple.
I think so,
Yeah.
but I just want to make it clear that that's how it works. I literally work with it in that area.
Understood.
In this country, and
I
I know
appreciate
that's not true.
You also know that there are people who come with a concept and this notion about coming illegally into the country, smuggling themselves in by boats, and that's what the biggest problem we have now. And
Yeah,
and they're having children at a legitimate hospital because we can't turn them away for health care.
No, we should have been dealing with that.
That's what I'm telling the gentleman. If we had dealt with it the way that we supposed to have dealt with it from decades gone, we wouldn't have the problem.
No, that would have been the very, very, we were really slack with that. We shouldn't have.
What we decided to do for political purposes was that, you know what, let's let these people stay around based on the Constitution, Article 7, then they could apply. They could apply at the age of 18, whatever, and then we'll give them a consideration and say we reject it or we accept it. That's the way that they smooth it over for a long period. But guess what? In all that time, others have been doing it, and we have a preponderance and a multiplicity of people who are here without any real status.
That's true. We're killing ourselves every day looking at these papers. Some of them don't even have, they can't even begin to qualify with the submissions that they make. You know, it's serious. People don't really know how serious this is.
But I have an idea. That's why I can talk about it.
I can give you a headache every day.
Tell me about it. Why do you think I left that subject alone? It's a lot of burden. I appreciate your call. Thank you very kindly.
Well, good evening.
All the best.
All right.
Yeah, us, we know the law. We're not telling anybody anything. And that wasn't where I was going when I talked about it. I was talking about this belongers permit thing, that we got to look at that properly and make sure that who we are doing this to would have been persons who would have had some status here, not just anybody. Because there are people among those groups who may have come on a work permit and believe that, hey, look here, I got belongers status and I never was legal in this country and I never had a right to have any children. That's what I'm saying to Mr. William Pratt over at the Immigration Department, who is, I can't tell him, he's a smart man. He knows the procedure. He knows the law. I'm just bringing to your attention that we mustn't try to smoke this over to the point now where we fool ourselves and we have an outnumbering of Bahamians by those who in fact never belong here, but now they outnumber you because we are going to legitimize them because there are more of them than us. You want to set this country on edge? Let that happen. What's going on here with these telephones? Hard copy, how are you?
How you doing? C. Allen Johnson.
C. Allen, I want to talk to you. Give me a second. What's going on with the phone? Okay, let's see. Let's see what's happening here. C. Allen, good afternoon. How are you?
Hey, good afternoon, sir.
So what do we do? What is that assignment I gave you? I know I called your name earlier today.
Yes. Let me, can I? Before I come to that call concerning the born before July 7th, July 10th, 1973, that too is not correct. Even if you're born in the Bahamas before July 10th, 1973, unless you were considered a member of the colony or citizen of the colony, how it goes.
Yeah, it becomes a little technical, but she's right in a way, and you are right because you're talking about having status under the British rule before the independence, and you would have already been a member. If that's correct, and your parents were, then you would have automatically slipped over. That's what she was saying.
Yes, and so it isn't that you were born in the Bahamas made you automatically.
Exactly. You're right.
But that's another technicality. But on this whole thing about being born, the aspect you're talking about, what happens is there is a no-man status for any child born in the Bahamas. When I say no-man status, in the Bahamas, from the Bahamas Constitution or even laws passed from the day they're born until they actually become citizen in the Bahamas. So from the date of birth until they actually accepted a citizen, technically they have no status. Now what happens is they may claim custody, somebody that is legally here in the Bahamas or has legal custody. I'm not talking about you leaving with somebody. Legal custody in the Bahamas is by definition the courts. The problem is that we have Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Social Services that has failed to verify that these children are in lawful custody of individuals who should have them based under these international agreements to prevent abuse and trafficking in children.
Well, see, hold on a second. That again, too, is very technical because you hear what you said and you're right. The fact of the matter is that we have parents who are here illegally sending their children to school. The Board of Education is supposed to know who they are and check that, but they don't. So there's another gray area. And so we have, based upon the United Nations laws that is imposed upon all countries like ours, we cannot deny the child an education. But there's also some immigration policies that would say, but under these conditions, we must know the status of their parents. But nobody wants to go there.
Yes,
and for obvious reasons.
Let's use an example. Do you know the people on the train wreck? Do you know, even because they could not verify their status, they had hundreds of them listed as Jane Doe until people can bring ID to prove who they are, because you must have proof of who you are. They literally said, you can't give us a name. I don't care what your tickets say. And nobody was leaving the train at time to look for no wallet or this, whatever. And so, but they were exercising that same option, whereas in the Bahamas, UV must treat you. But we must also follow those same international agreements for the control of diseases and other things to positively identify who you are. And we're not following that in the hospital, and we're not following it in the school. And so we like to talk about this international agreement,
right,
but then we need to follow it to the letter, not part of it.
That's correct. Else. And that's what people are doing too with Article 7.
Correct itself. If we follow the same international agreement, the problem will literally correct itself.
Well, you know what I was talking to you about earlier that I said, I've got to call Critical Think on this and get him in on this. And that is this whole bit about the tourism website being hacked. I'm not so sure. What does that mean? Does that mean that we're in a state of national security because it's been hacked? The website.
It is not. Here's the point. Tourism has a standalone website separate and apart from the government website. Tourism website is managed by a company called Cyberetis or Cyberpub, and even their email server is handled by them. There is absolutely no information that's kept on the tourism website except for emails, which is downloaded. They have some online. They use clients and offline clients. Now, I don't see the national security issue in respect to it. Why is it? Cyberetis is one of the most people. They keep multiple servers. So and I put to you that maybe what happened to the Ministry of Tourism is called denial of service, where you have a flood of information that is sent to the website that prevents access to the website, which then throws the server in overload. It's almost like, thousands of people showing up at your studio at the same time. You cannot accommodate them. So you just shut the company down until you can get order. And considering the amount of time, I would put to you that the denial of service, had they grabbed Cyberetis servers, because it's not our own server. Unlike the Bahamas government server, which is the own server, this is not our own server. And so, to me, there is absolutely was no national security threat. The Grenadines and other countries down in the Caribbean, they actually lost control of their own personal servers. Understand it?
Yes. Their personal servers.
Right. So that was the national security threat. I think what you had is the Prime Minister having a lack of understanding of technology.
Well, I did say that I'm a dinosaur, and so is he when it comes to this kind of stuff.
They were notified that something happened, and then, of course, it went up the chain because they must notify him, of whatever's happening, and it became a huge issue blown out of proportion. Not the national security level that we had.
See, because from a simple logical point of view, in my mind, all right, all of us could do a little something on the computers and all that. That's fine. But you know something? In my mind, I'm saying a website is basically set up to promote and showcase what we are doing, and that you want that in the public display. But when Christy is saying that the website was hacked, I'm like, okay, what could they have hacked off the website that could be so dangerous?
The website, in the simplest term, is an electronic brochure.
Okay, and we want to pass out our brochures, right? So that people can know who we are.
Somebody had maliciously put something in the front of your brochure, and which Cyberetis has, in a matter of 60 seconds, they would take that server offline, because you have multiple servers in different places that duplicate each other. Within 60 seconds or 90 seconds, and that most likely happened, they would have taken that offline and then route everybody to the next server. It takes about 90 seconds. And so there was absolutely nothing happened. That's what you pay them. This is what we're paying them $1 million for this type of security and protection.
Okay.
And so, but the fact is that this is not tied into government. This is a marketing campaign. And so for, let's for instance, you have an ad on ZNS and they put another ad where your ad's supposed to be. That doesn't become to a security issue that your business is threatened. Your ad just have to be rerun another time or reset.
Okay.
So that's where it is.
Yeah, because see, once the PM Critical Thinker, once the PM indicated and gave us a view that in the House of Assembly that this was urgent, they had to stop what they were doing because he understood it to be a matter of national security. I was thinking then that they have some kind of money matters on the website of tourism. See, because I know tourism has its own budget and all that kind of stuff. So I was thinking, oh boy, they must have gotten into that kind of part, and that is dangerous. But he said the website, and I'm saying that information would not be on the website, would it?
Right, not right. But see, tourism has a separate server again. The tourism runs multiple servers. They run an email server, which is run by Cyberetis, and they run a platform for which you go to the website. Now, internally, tourism has a separate server for which runs the internal mechanisms of tourism. Now, I don't know if that's the server that they're saying went down. It's not a website. It'll be an actual server.
That's what I'm saying. But see, the words of the PM was website.
So that second server that runs their offices downtown and connect all of their offices, that server could have been grabbed. I don't know whether we manage it or another company manages it. I put to you that if another company is managing that server, it is almost, because when you go to these high-level multi-million-dollar companies, they have redundancies backup. And it's only when you go to these small island nations where they have some guy in the basement maintaining their server and haven't migrated to the cloud services yet. You would have where the guy grabs the server, they got to shut it down, reboot, reformat the drive, take out whatever control they have or whatever. That's where you see this long delay of it being cached someplace else. You see saying ISIS got it and everything else. And so and I put to you that if the Prime Minister is correct in his utterances, the tourism main server running the entire business, including the budget and everything else, is what got hacked, not the thing. Now,
not the website.
ISIS would not go after these public things. That is somebody who has an interest in the data that's within tourism, such as your information coming in, your exchanges going out, all of these different things, where the registration, where all of the numbers that you have, the people where they come from,
that would be dangerous, if they were to get that.
That becomes a huge thing for us, because essentially whatever country grabs it basically has the ability to duplicate the Bahamas marketing campaign. You know where the money is spent, where your budget is spent, how much you have allocated, where the people are coming from,
but you're saying
you have agreements, all the agreements you have with the airlines and everything else.
But you are saying, critical thinker, that this would be a server, a particular server that's supposed to have been secured, but it would not be the actual website.
Right.
Okay, so maybe the PM got his terminologies mixed up, and maybe he's talking about the server.
Tourism website would become a national security issue, because you're talking about just imagine me grabbing your server and I'll have all your customer line, I'll have all your mailing list, I have all your customer list, I have all your county, I'll have all of the people you're looking to do partnership with, I'll have your price list for all of the people.
You'll get an edge on me.
Your sub-pricing, I have all your information on your gaming facilities, all of the information you have on that tourism server, which is not on the website, but on their own separate server. You would literally have the Ministry of Tourism information for whatever amount of years they have there.
Wow.
That becomes a huge issue from national security importance.
So your educated guess is that if there is alarm by the nation's chief executive and the Minister of National Security, Dr. Nottage, who suggested that they suspend the House to deal with this matter, then it means that your educated guess would be along the lines that a server has been hijacked or corrupted or hacked, and not really the website of tourism.
Yes,
I got you.
And that's correct.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I can always depend upon you for that kind of information. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. C. Alan Johnson. Now, that's quite interesting, because in the headlines, the story goes that the House of Assembly was suspended yesterday morning after the Prime Minister Christie announced that the Ministry of Tourism's official website was hacked. That's what he said. You heard what Critical Thinker says, that it may be the real server. And if that's the case, this is no joking matter, because it would have, in fact, have all those things on it, and we can't afford for that to happen. But just the terminology alone by PM would have, I'm a layman. You got to talk straight to me, because I ain't that smart. Okay? And if he says website, and I know ain't nothing could be on a website that could be crucial to the security of the country, because the website, as he says, is an electronic brochure to promote what we are doing and say, hey, come on down. But maybe the term website is what threw the whole thing up. But let's look at what the PM said. The PM says he requested an immediate suspension. The PM requested an immediate suspension yesterday of the House of Assembly after he made the announcement. He says, I would wish to advise that we have been informed by the Ministry of Tourism that the website of the Ministry of Tourism has been hacked, that the website of the Ministry of Tourism has been hacked, and if it is of enormous national importance. And it is, he says, and it is of enormous national importance to all of us. The Prime Minister said that the hacking is an issue of national importance, that the government and the proper authorities will be investigating. In fact, this is a quote in the Bahama Journal today, says, in fact, it is a matter that the government has recognized has happened elsewhere in the Caribbean with enormous national security implications. And he says, we will in fact retire to discuss the matter and to review it with respect to the implications to the reputation of any other matter that are connected thereto in the country. So I want to make that contribution, is what he said. And so, of course, right after that, BJ says, yes, we should suspend. And that is what they did. Now, did we get all alarmed about nothing? I hope so, because now the police are investigating it. And I just wanted to get a reference and a understanding, because, I know a little bit about websites. I'm not built one, but I know I can go to any website and look at things. And so when I heard the PM say website, I'm saying, okay, it cannot be a website because the website really got nothing on it. That can be of national security measures. So maybe, as Critical Thinker has projected and has intimated, maybe it's a server. And if it is, then we've got a problem and we've got to fix it. And so I hope if it is that particular situation, we can get it fixed. 325-0235 or 325-0242-043. Let me take these calls before the break. Hard copy, how you doing? Hi there. Okay. Hard copy, how are you? Are you there? All right. Are you there? Are you there? Okay. Let's run to the break. This is Hard Copy. Today, I ask you a couple of serious questions, You see how all of these things are going on. Does it mean that the country is now beginning to catch itself, deal with the issues as they are, and correct them so that we can move forward in a progressive manner to build this country? All of these problems that was a burden on our shoulders, Bahamian people, for the last few weeks, BEC, BAMSI, Alfred Gray, and you see what they did with Alfred Gray. There's no charge to answer. There's no charge there. Then you had the whole thing with the AG's office, the letter that the advice that they gave, the speaker today saying that the Public Account Committee has to back down and leave Algernon and Mother Pratt alone because really there's a stay against them doing anything. Of course, Chippy is upset about that. Chipman says that he's shocked at that decision. We'll talk more about that. I ask you the question, is it like the PLP government is now beginning to deal with the problems at hand and try their best to fix them and resolve them once and for all? Do you get that impression? Give me a call, 325-0235-6. And if they are, or if they're attempting to do that, are they going to be successful, and are they successful so far? Let's talk. 325-0235-6, 325-0242-043. The BlackBerry is 37692 for texting. I'm listening to you. It's Thursday. We have an open line going. Let's talk about it after these words.
At Henry F. Storr Electric Company, we supply all your electric needs for any size project, from residential housing to luxury hotels. We can help you achieve just the right look, from doorbells to chandeliers, table lamps to ceiling fans, wire, conduit, panels, dimmers, switches, plugs, and even tools. And don't forget light bulbs. We have those hard-to-find energy-saving fluorescent bulbs and more. Henry F. Storr Electric, number 135 Matthew Street. Over 50 years of reliability, service, and low prices. We also ship to the Family Islands.
The Department of Labor is encouraging all Bahamian job seekers who hold a bachelor's degree to register immediately with the department. Bahamians with bachelor's degree register without delay, as there is now a great demand for such persons in various professions in the job market. Register now at the Department of Labor, Clarence Green Building, Thompson Boulevard, or at the Robinson Road location, or at the Department of Labor in any Family Island. For more information, call 302-2550 or 302-2562.
The best insurance in town is Advantage Insurance on Collins Avenue. They are simply the best because they provide easy, affordable insurance rates for home, car, business, or whatever is valuable or important to you. Advantage Insurance and Brokers, 61 Collins Avenue, is the fastest, most progressive insurance company in the Bahamas because they really take care of you by making insurance totally affordable. Call them now at 356-0285 or 6, or email them at info@advantagebahamas.com.
Executive Printers. We're professionals. At Executive Printers, we do not participate in trash talk. We concern ourselves with the accuracy and security of your laser check. That is why we put 15 securities on your laser checks. This is not trash. This is fact. It makes fraud almost impossible. Call us today at Executive Printers at 393-5011 or email us at sales@epbahamas.com. That's sales@epbahamas.com. Executive Printers. Laser checks. We do them right.
This year, don't be caught singing the Christmas blues. Start saving now with your own B.O.B. Christmas Club account. Sign up before June 30th with just $20. Earn high interest and have guaranteed spending money in time for Christmas. Don't be left in a bind this year. Let B.O.B.'s Christmas Club account work for you. Sign up today at your nearest B.O.B. branch. B.O.B., your bank of solutions.
When Steve talks, people listen. People listen. People listen.
325-023546. This is Hard Copy, friends. You can call me. Let's talk about some things. And I know that some of you are kind of like leery about, you could care 2 cents about what Christie and those are trying to do. But, you know, I like to be fair. I think if they're trying to do some things, we ought to pay attention to it because, after all, that's how we're going to know if we're making progress with our relentless criticisms. Because there will be serious criticisms. And we criticize not for criticizing's sake. We criticize as a people, I would believe, that we want to see changes. So relentless criticism is good as long as it's constructive. And we have given them criticism. Fix this, fix the next thing, fix the next thing. How are they fixing it? Are you pleased? Let's talk. 325-023546 on Hard Copy this afternoon. Let's take a call. Hard Copy, how are you doing? Hi there, Hard Copy, how are you? Can you hear me? Okay, let's check that line. Hard Copy, how are you?
Good evening, Kenny. How you doing, Sparky?
Hey, Sparky. All is well.
It is.
I'm in good shape, Sparky. How you doing today?
Good, man. Hope your family's well. You know, listen, Kenny, if you keep coming back at that illegal immigration thing, I heard that gentleman called you early today about that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know where he coming from with it, trying to prove you wrong. Mm-hmm. As we know it, because we've been over that thing so much. Yeah. But Steve, you know, I can understand the situation where a mother has to go in, whether it's emergency or somebody sick going into the hospital, because I know the hospital, the doctors and nurses' code of ethics is to take care of the patient.
That's right.
That's first and foremost the thing that they are sworn to do, take care of the patient. Mm-hmm. After that, then they have to, you know, maintain the patient until the patient is ready to be discharged. Am I correct?
Absolutely. That's their job. They're obligated.
I can understand that situation. But now, after that illegal person leaves the hospital, what I don't understand is when 4 years later, we know mommy and daddy was illegal. Now, we ain't not calling any nationality here. So I don't want anybody to get upset. We just talking about the word illegal. Mm-hmm. Now, 4 years later, after that person wanders the country illegally with mommy and daddy, then all of a sudden at the age of 4 or whenever they start in the primary school, here comes they show up to the school to have the child administered into school. What I can't understand, Steve, is our authorities at that point, why is it that they don't check to see if the parents are legal in the country?
Well, that's what they're supposed to do.
But why for so many years, Steve?
We don't have
1973.
We don't have the courage.
The forefathers of the nation
didn't have the courage.
Stipulated in our constitution and everything. What constitutes being legal in the Bahamas? Who has the rights to be here? Why, after all these years, 40 years, we still don't go through that procedure?
Don't have the courage.
Okay, you come to enroll this child. Okay, we will take this child in this school. Mommy, daddy, or two y'all sitting across the desk from me. We ready to send this child to class number 1, grade 1, form B, whatever it is. But we need to know, first of all, are you two people sitting in front of me legal in this country?
And what's your names?
And it's, give me a name, give me a passport, give me some document to prove that you're here. So now we could deal with this child until this child get 18. Mm-hmm. But now you illegal and daddy illegal. You're two walking around here. This innocent little child here. Now, what happened when we pick you all up and send you all to the detention center and back home to where you got it back? Then we got this little child walking the street just fenceless by itself with no guardian to take care of it. What do we do with the child?
That's what I'm saying. That's why the child is considered, Sparky, the insurance, if you will, the anchor baby, the insurance, because you see, the international laws that we subscribe to, which we are right to do so, it doesn't go deep enough on our side of the jurisdiction that talks about these children who would have been born to illegal parents and the people who live in the interior or underground, if you will. They just come up and they say the children can go to school, so they send the children to school, and we have a right to educate them. But we also have a right to make sure that we have all the information down. And if this had been happening over the years, we would have known the number of people we had here illegal, but we don't know because nobody ever got that information.
I haven't said the word cats because they're not animals. But when they apprehend mommy and daddy and they find the child, isn't it proper that the child accompanies mommy and daddy to wherever they're supposed to be going?
Yes, but now we're doing something else because of UN conventions, and we want to be on the side of everybody good faith and good feeling. We've decided that we're going to give these children who are already here, we're going to give them a permit that says that they are here, and while they're illegal, they can have a permit to go to school and even work if necessary until they get 18. Then they can make the application. That is what we're doing now. People say that's nice, and everybody who that is happening to, they should sit small and just enjoy it, because to me, anyone can challenge that and say, but the government don't have the right to do that. But nobody's challenging that. Everybody's saying, yeah, some people want the government to do more than that, but the government is doing its best that it could, considering that we've been dealing with this for the last 6-7 decades. That's what the real problem is. No one wants to speak to that, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I mentioned to Sparky today. This belongers permit thing, we've got to be careful with it. The way it's coded, the way it's being fashioned, the way it's being implemented, we got to know if the persons who are getting this belonger permit would have been here under a work permit, would have had a child here, would have now taken up residence here, would have now be a citizen here for these things to happen. That is not what we are hearing. We're seeing a lot of people from a subculture who are here illegally trying to get a part of this thing called a belongers permit. But I'm telling the gentleman who I spoke with earlier, a legal matter cannot be made legal just because. Anything with illegality to it cannot be considered lawful because it doesn't exist in our law. We deal with lawful things. We don't deal with the illegality of things. Things that are illegal, it doesn't exist for us. That's what I'm telling the guy.
All of that because me and you went through this over and over. The last question I want to ask you, if these people are not supposed to be working in our country illegally without a work permit, what are they doing during the day and the night? If they're not supposed to be on no job site, they're not supposed to be in the muddy yard weeding, they're not supposed to be in no shop in the back warehouse stocking those trucks and stuff like that. Where are they if they're not supposed to be working without a work permit? Where are these people in this country?
I don't know. Thank you. I appreciate it. Maybe the people at immigration can talk more, but Mr. Mitchell is concerned. But you see, the government of the Bahamas is only really concerned because America is concerned about the threat of ISIS and the threat of smugglers coming into our territory, bringing in illegal weapons and this and the next thing, and we're so close. So they're concerned. They're concerned about these smuggling boats that a lot of Bahamas are participating in, and a lot of residents of different nationalities are also participating in to bring people here. The government has to be concerned now because this international smuggling ring is so big and is so deep that they better be concerned. And that's one of the reasons why we're moving as a country to try to correct some steps. But when we do move to correct the steps, let's look at the problems as to where they are. If we have tons of boats coming in, bringing in illegals, human cargo smuggling, drug smuggling, gun smuggling, any kind of other smuggling, we have a right to deal with it. But we can fix that, you know. You see these boats that we got? We need to put the full power behind those guys on the boats, the defense force fellas, to go into the areas. There's a particular area that we have the biggest hole to be penetrated, right? And they do it every day. So why can't we put the boats where they're supposed to be to stop this from happening? You see, that's just how big this smuggling operation is. This is multi-layered. These people are coming with papers already made up, you know. Yeah, they come in here with papers already made up, things, stamps and seals and everything else. So some people on the ground over here got to be doing some stuff. The boat captains who get the full brunt of the law when they catch him, if he talks, he'll carry it on a whole lot of people with him. But maybe he don't know he's just a transporter. You ever see that movie, The Transporter? He just bringing them. He don't know the details of it. But he got the paperwork because he's going to get paid from somewhere to do what he's doing. And that's what Fred Mitchell them have this big, when I say them, I'm talking about us, we the people. through our minister, we have this serious problem. Now, we can't continue to let this problem bleed and bleed and bleed and do nothing about it. But to try to correct the problem in the short term, it appears that the government is acquiescent on a number of things that is the law, trying to compromise and fix some things in a smooth way so that we can all just get along. Well, all we're going to do is just delay it some more. That's what the forefathers did. They put it off just so, let us just get along. Maybe when they get 18, it won't be on our watch. Somebody else will be dealing with it, and they just defer the problem. That's what our problem is in the Bahamas. And as we continue to defer the problem, some other people from other tribes, other nationalities are getting more progressively aggressive. And they're telling you, no, we have a right to be here even though we come here. There's no such thing as a baby being illegal. Well, that's what we have cultivated in the Bahamas. Stuff like that. Hard copy, how are you?
Hey, Steve, what's up?
Okay.
Hey, Steve, I sat there and I listened to a lot of things, especially the part when you asked if the government is moving and beginning to govern the country and getting the country on track.
Are they?
Yeah. Nah, only one minister I'll say is doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Who that?
That's Fred Mitchell.
Okay.
Right? There are only two MPs who stand up for the people in the House of Assembly.
Leslie Miller and who else?
That's Miller, Rawlins, and Ramon Wells.
Hey, guess what? Guess what I learned today? Actually, yesterday. That the way things are going, Rawlins had better start moving fast and making his moves now, because I'm getting it from the grapevine, not the one in the Punch, my own political grapevine, that there may not be a Fort Charlotte in the next general election.
Yep, you get cut out.
You see, there's more than one way to skin a cat. I hear some talking going on that, boy, there may not be another Fort Charlotte, may not be no more Fort Charlotte. And that's how they'll deal with Rawlins. So Rawlins, if he's going to make a move, he got to make his move now.
Yeah, he got to go join forces, either the DNA or the F&M.
Interesting.
All right. Now, see what I was about to say. This thing with immigration and all that, right? Irregardless of Haitian, Jamaican, Chinese, Filipino, whatever. This is not just, the reason I said there's only one minister who's doing something about it. This is a multi-government agency thing here, right? Because you got trafficking and smuggling. The Defense Force, the Ministry of National Security, should be one of the biggest partners along with the Minister of Foreign Affairs in this, because we have islands, thousands of miles of water, and we got a bunch of new boats that seem to carry Prince George Dock.
I keep hearing that. Is that really true?
National Security.
Is that really true?
Now, the Attorney General office now has fallen down on the job for a number of years by not properly implementing laws or whatever that apply to the rights of people born here, to illegal parents, or giving them some type of status. And then the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Social Services have fallen down. You remember when the Haitian villages burned down? Instead of people out there to help was the Ministry of Social Services.
Yep.
And I can guarantee you, not one of them social workers probably even took information from those people that I get their name and how long they've been living
my brother, we only just started trying to fingerprint them this year.
Right, and see, well, you know,
I mean, those who come in illegally.
All the years. I remember when I was in high school, I went to public school for a short time. They were there with me.
Yeah, and with me.
And with you. And then, so that's what I'm saying, is Ministry of Education as well. So there's only one minister who's actually doing something to move forward, when it should be a group of them. It should almost be like a task force moving to get this whole situation with trafficking.
It's going to take a hell of a lot of coordination and honesty and cooperation. And, you know, we are somewhat of a corrupt group of people in our thinking and our approach to things. There are shortcuts that we want to take, and there's no room for those kinds of things.
Right, and you know, you cannot protect your borders or protect your people if you have one minister who is doing the job, and he's doing a hell of a job. Fred Mitchell, he's doing a fantastic job there. But then the others are sitting down twiddling their thumbs.
Well, I got an assignment for Fred Mitchell. If he's doing a fantastic job, I thank you for your call. If he is, I want Fred Mitchell to make sure that he's going to be doing a good surveillance on Bay Street before the Chinese come, before Christie allowed for the Chinese to come, and change the whole gateway to the Bahamas with a look of the Orient. I know we used to like to do that in John Canoe, but in real life, you see, I don't want us to get to the point where now we're getting mixed up with what is reality and fantasy, because we have a tendency to do that at times. But on a very serious note, I want Fred Mitchell to take a look, see, And here with my white brothers and sisters and my black brothers and sisters, owners of properties on Bay Street, and even my white Greek brothers who have a lot of stake in the Bahamas, have been here for a long time doing a number of things, how they're very concerned about all the Indians who are here, and the Indians who are taking all the jewelry stores and all these very important souvenir stores and that kind of thing, to the detriment of the native Bahamian and to the local Bahamian businessmen who have been running Bay Street for many years. And some people say, well, that's good for them. The fact of the matter is that nothing is ever good for any Bahamian who is being disadvantaged by foolish policies or by slackness in the system, where the people who come bring grandma, uncle, cousin Dodie, and everybody else, and they're all here under the auspices of selling jewelry when many of them are old and can't even move around. We've got to pay attention to that. It's a serious thing. And also, we've got to be very, very much alert and cognizant of the tourism package that we're selling. The cruise ships come in, they go into these stores, they don't see them people like us no more. They're seeing some other people from some other countries as they come in, Julie, listen, man, listen. I know we want to be an international hub and an international port, but when you are in the Bahamas, you're supposed to be seen by Bahamians in these stores and Bahamians serving you, not some other people. Now, I have a big problem with that, and I brought up several times. That tells you that I'm investigating it. I want Mitchell to investigate it and to see what can be done. But is it just a case then? If there's nothing we can do, is it a case where work permits cost a pretty penny and the government is making a lot of money off work permits, and so they're not checking? And if nobody makes noise, nobody will know. And maybe that's the case. Maybe my white brothers and sisters who are in this business and have been in this business for a long time, or my Concrete Joe brothers and sisters, they're all Bahamians, maybe they ought to make some noise. Maybe they ought to write a couple of letters. Maybe they ought to get some things going, because you know what else is happening? They're also infiltrating the real estate market. Imagine that. Selling land. The guy who came to me about 4 weeks ago, was it 2 months ago, from over in Cat Island, who told me about the Germans who are running things, and it seems like nobody in local government could do anything about it. And he was concerned about how they took Little San Salvador, that we always knew as Little San Salvador, change it around and call it Half Moon Cay, and no Bahamians can go to go pick some fauna, some palm, to go make some thatch and that kind of stuff. You know, it's incredible the things that we allow happening in this country, and we're not cognizant of it. I mean, imagine that. So the whole history of the Bahamas now changes. All of a sudden, this Half Moon Cay pops up. Little did we know that's Little San Salvador. Oh my God. It's now Half Moon Cay. Not Key. It's Half Moon Cay. I'm going to Half Moon Cay tomorrow. Interesting. This is interesting. This is your country, you know. If you don't say anything about it, some people will take it from you. And I really believe that we are at that point. You know, we never really got rid of the pirates. I don't know what these guys are talking about. They expelled the pirates and restored commerce. For a time. Spurty. For a season. Truth of the matter be told right now, all kind of fellas from someplace else with a song and a dance running the show. I meant to tell you guys something yesterday. I said, remind me to tell you about an investment that almost took place in the Bahamas because people come here on a song and a dance, and they befuddle the minds of some politicians. They can sell anything to these guys, especially when the government is new. Boy, in 2002, when the government was new, something happened. Some guys came here talking about they want to do a moon project. So I was working on More FM at the time, doing talk radio. You Make the Call on More FM, Galen Saunders and Company. And this guy came to town, say he was doing this moon project. Now, go back in your mind. This is just coming out of 1999, and you're going into 2000, and, you know, the world is changing, and, you know, we get all freaked out that, you know, Y2K and all. And so all kinds of stuff's happening out there, and we are lost in space as Bahamians and many of you guys because we don't read a lot of stuff. But this project in Dubai was actually happening. And some guy rolled into town and tried to visit different ministries to sell a concept. He has a briefcase in his hand. Oh, he's handsome. He's handsome, dark hair. He looked like he's from Morocco, you know, handsome, tall, and tan, and he's got a briefcase, and, you know, he's got an entourage with him, and they're walking to these ministries, and they're catching limousines to these ministries, and they are confusing and befuddling and freaking out some of our new politicians who've come along in 2002. What party was in 2002? Anyway, so there they are. This guy comes to town. He has his briefcase. Slick talker, suave, debonair, pocket piece. Oh, nice tie. Nice diamond on the tie. You know, really, oh, classy. Oh, man. And so what he's singing, the song and the dance. This guy had actually spoken to some principals, and I can prove this. There are pictures in the newspapers for this, in the Tribune, with the principals that he spoke with. And he almost got away with murder in this country had it not been for a big mouth fella by the name of Steve McKinney doing a show called You Make the Call. So we ran some checks and investigated this guy because this guy was talking nonsense. Listen to what he was talking. Listen to what this guy was talking, friends. And thank God for Oscar Johnson, OJ. You know, he taught me well that, you know, watch these guys with the song and the dance. So this guy came here talking. He says, yeah, this is what we're going to do. He says, I've got this project, you know. This is a very, very, very huge project. It's, you know, it's a multi-billion-dollar project. You hear that word? Billion-dollar project. He says, so what I want to do, I'm going to bring to the Bahamas, in particular Grand Bahama is what I'm looking at. He says, you know, I want to really build a series of condominiums in the middle of the ocean on Grand Bahama by floating some islands on the island of Grand Bahama. We're going to float some islands and build islands in the water of Grand Bahama, and we're going to have this beautiful area of condominiums where on every island it has its own condominium with its own waterway. It's all supported, and you know it's called the Moon Project. He says, and what we're going to do with these 20 condominiums with 20 floors, 20 stories high, we're going to have people from all the world come over from as far as the east and wherever, and they're going to come and they're going to live in these condominiums and whatnot, and we're going to make money. And these condominiums are going to be so wonderfully fantastic. It's going to be a whole new village, a whole new era in how we do resort development, he told the officials. He says, when we do these resort development, we're going to have a discotheque, sort of a discotheque, a huge area, sort of a discotheque, where when people go in there to dance, instead of them dancing on the floor, they will be bouncing off the ceiling because this will not have any gravity in it. We're going to be like we're on the moon. It's the Moon Project. When you go into the disco, you're going to float. You're going to get your ticket. You're going to float. You're going to be floating through the air as you dance in the discotheque. You think I'm kidding, eh? This is absolutely true. This happened in the Bahamas, 2002 thereabouts. The Moon Project. And he talked about all kind of elaborate stuff that he must have been reading a serious bit of a fantasy, or, you know, this guy was just crazy. And he had people with him trying to sell this project. And we almost bought it because he took pictures with officials of the Bahamas government. Until I said, now, wait a second. Who the hell is this guy? What foolishness is he talking? Yeah, and I'll tell you, he left town quick, fast, and hurry. But not after engaging in serious meetings and dialogues, because a new government was in place, and they figure these guys green, they're looking for investment. You know, we're gonna shake them down. Con artists, and we almost fell for it. Now I can call all the principals involved, but I won't. I can tell you the ministers who are involved, but I won't. But I'm telling you this: tell them to tell me I lie. So I can bring that newspaper clipping and bring you that show and let it be played back for you. I'll do it. I have every show that I did in my life. I have it in my library. This is a serious thing. This is a case of where people think that we're that foolish. I mean, the elaborate stuff that this guy was talking about, he could have only read that because he had some insight as to what they were doing in Dubai at the time. You remember the palms, how they did that water float thing in the desert, and you had these islands in shape of a coconut palm. You remember that? Floated with water, those kind of islands. What this guy didn't know, he did no research, and he had people listening to him. You can't float no island in Grand Bahama because how deep that doggone water is. It's impossible. reminds us of the time when the fella came to town, right? Bahamas are so green back in the day. This guy was on radio and shortwave radio in them days. They're able to get certain stations in Miami, and this guy, they thought he was this big time DJ. And so, he rolls into town, or they used to hear him every day on the radio, and he'd say, but I know ya. And it sounded so good. It was so cool, it was so nice. It was the style. And everybody had the hip talk. But I know ya. So the story goes that some group of promoters, I don't know if God Wright was one of them, because I love God Wright. At least Kenneth Wright dad, and he may not have been involved. But God Wright was a kind of flamboyant promoter. And so some guys like a God Wright type, maybe not God Wright. They decided they're going to bring this superstar into town because, the people love him. Because he can say this thing, he's got a down pat. But I know ya. So what they did, they got this guy. They filled the auditorium in Nassau. And they went on the end. They promoted. We're gonna have, Mr. Guy. That's what they call the guy. So he's gonna have Mr. Guy come to town, and he's an international acclaimed radio personality. So when the guy walks in, let's say the Captain Philip, he walks inside. The audience is there, a big audience, huge crowd, all the pretty gals with mini skirts, maxi skirts, Afro hairdo, all that. They just ready to see who this big guy celebrity is, and they want to know him because they hear him on the radio. See, he's popular in the Bahamas. So he walks on the stage. The audience are holding their breath, and he walks on the stage. And as he walks on the stage, he's all super fly dressed. He grabs that mic. He stops. He looks around. He says, but I know ya. Crowd, they clapping, boy, they applauding. So they're applauding. So he walks across the stage. He strikes up another pose. This time he throws his walking cane. He tips his hat. He grabs that mic. He says, but I know ya. They clap again. They love this. Yeah, man, yeah. We got this jazzy Mr. Guy here. He's superstar. And every time this guy walked across the stage, he struck up another pose. And he said it again. But I know ya. It turns out, friends, that's all this guy, Mr. Jazz Guy, could have said. That's all he ever said on the radio. But I know ya. The audience started booing. Oh, one thing with Bahamas now, from that time, we used to deal with Jimmy wasn't for real. And they started booing. And as they boo, somebody started throwing things on the stage. He turned around with his walking cane. He pointed the cane at the audience and he says, but I know ya. So, friends, I'm only saying this to you. We've got to be careful. There are all kinds of people out there. It is what a fool believes. Isn't it? What a fool believes. 325-0235 or 6 is how you call me tonight. And I'm listening to you. I'm taking your phone calls on all things that you figure may be important. Even if you don't believe my story about, but I know ya. But I know ya. And that's all he said. I'm running to the break. When I come back, I take more calls. Is the government doing better? What do you think, friends, about the fact that the Public Accounts Commission, a committee, felt let down by the Speaker of the House of Assembly when he made the ruling that, look, no such thing is going to happen with Brother Algernon Allen or Mother Pratt coming before you to give any evidence on anything. That was a big blow to the Public Accounts Committee, especially Mr. Chipman. A big blow. And they're crying foul. Do you see the reason why they're doing that? Do you think that's a good thing? Do you think that the Speaker should have done that? Mind you, the Speaker has his own jurisdiction here. But that's what he did. Why do you think he did that? People think that it may be because there may be something to hide, or that the Speaker decided that he was going to stand up for what the right thing to do, the procedures, since the procedures weren't followed, according to the Attorney General. But what do you think is really happening here? And do you think that that's a good sign, an indication, as to where we are going in dealing with the problems that we face? You tell me when we come back. You can text me as well. 376-9234. We're back in a minute.
The Utilities Regulation and Competition Authority, ERCA, presents ICT Innovation and Connectivity, a report on the status of the electronic communications sector in the Bahamas and its 2014 activities. Join ERCA's board, members, and staff on Thursday, May 21st at the College of the Bahamas School of Hospitality at 6:30 p.m. and participate. ERCA will also launch its Innovation and Connection Competition in commemoration of the 150th anniversary of the ITU.
May I have your attention, please? Why? Well, I'm sure you'd like to hear about this week's savings at Super Value and quality supermarkets like Mazola Cooking Oils 40-ounce bottle, $3.79. Bluebird Juice Selective Flavors 46-ounce can, $2.99. Value Time Towel 1 roll, 99 cents. Domestic Foil 25-foot size, $1.49. Sugardale Meat and Sierra Chicken Franks 12-ounce package, 99 cents. You may now head to your favorite Super Value or quality supermarkets.
At Henry F. Story Electric Company, we supply all your electric needs for any size project, from residential housing to luxury hotels. We can help you achieve just the right look, from doorbells to chandeliers, table lamps to ceiling fans, wire, conduit, panels, dimmers, switches, plugs, and even tools. And don't forget light bulbs. We have those hard-to-find, energy-saving fluorescent bulbs and more. Henry F. Story Electric, number 135 Matthew Street. Over 50 years of reliability, service, and low prices. We also ship to the Family Islands.
When I fly with Sky. Sky Bahamas. When I fly with Sky. Sky Bahamas. Oh, the plane them spanking clean. The pilots their voice red. They fly you out on time. They flight attendants red. Service is their passion. With you they take good care. Safety is their culture. Yes, they'll get you there. When I fly.
Fly with us to Fort Lauderdale or the beautiful Bahama Islands. Book today at 702-2600 or visit our website at skybahamas.net and experience Sky.
There's no other talk show like the show. If it's 5 o'clock, it's hard copy.
Welcome back. This is Hard Copy. I'm taking your calls at 325. We're on an open line today, friends. You can feel free to talk about it because there's so many things to talk about. And, you know, I like to go on this premise. You know, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. If you were to go and take every single thing and debate it to its most logical conclusion, it may scare you as to what the real results are. And so sometimes you've got to laugh about some things and the message will get through that, you know, are we serious? You know, we mustn't be too hard on ourselves. We're a new country and we are a young country and things happen. But we have to be in a position to make sure that we don't keep making the same mistakes. We have to learn from the mistakes that we make, shouldn't we? So I'm asking today that when you look at where we are, the preponderance of situations that we've had in recent times, I'm hoping that the Christie government is turning the corner on them. It still doesn't look too good for the Bahama deal. It still doesn't look too good for a number of things, but at least they're beginning to engage to understand that the Bahamian people aren't foolish. These are not the days of the international DJ, Mr. Guy, coming. These are different times. It's a computer age. We have exposure just like that, on the dime, on a second. And so we are very alert. And I'm happy to see that many Bahamians are now reading the business pages and understanding the traction, understanding the inner deals that happens. Even though we've got no answers, you know. One of the biggest stories that we've had in recent times has been this whole thing about ERCA. ERCA letting Cable Bahamas know, look, you guys are not supposed to be building all these cell towers all over the place. I brought it up countless times on this show. Nobody's answered it. Nobody cares. Even ERCA has been balking at, not ERCA, even Cable Bahamas has been balking what ERCA has been bringing up. But I'm happy that Stephen Baru, who's in charge of policy and regulations at ERCA, got on that case and say, look, they're going to abide by the rules like everybody else. And they're not giving any more permission for towers to be built. We have too many towers now. There are so many towers in this town that they're being told, short and long of it, go and get a ride off somebody else's tower and pay a fee to use the tower for the service that you want to do. But ERCA isn't too high on granting permission for any more towers, cell towers in particular, to be built because they're ugly. And we got them all over the place now. They're ugly things. And it's going to uglify. There's a new word for you. It's going to uglify the landscape. Hard copy, how are you?
Good afternoon, Mr. McKinney.
Yes, sir, that's me.
What's happening? Yeah, this is LHL one.
I know who this is.
Yeah, what's going on? Listen to me. I wanted to make a point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, right? You see urban renewal, right?
Yep.
You see the other day, the good character of the was dragged into a mess. You know why I dragged into a mess, Mr. McKinney?
Why?
Because the people in urban renewal, in that urban renewal there on the top of the hill, Sandyville there, they are causing problems. They're undermining the chairs of urban renewal. Because if you can remember, when I'll call it the right on, but Cynthia Pratt, no matter she's sitting, because she deserves whatever she needs. And then her urban renewal is climbing a high mountain, Mr. McKinney, you know that?
I hear you. I've been told. Mm-hmm.
So now, Mr. Allen, they climb up, but now it seems like the person in charge up there at urban renewal, along with a few others, like they have a conspiracy against Ms. Cynthia Pratt and Mr. Arjun Allen. And that ain't gonna wait. I don't want to call their name. They know what they're talking about. They need to move her and him from up there, interfering with the good voice of Mrs. Pratt and Mr. Arjun Allen. They causing problems. When the minister don't send memorandum to these people to follow orders, they disrespect the order. They don't carry it out. It's like they run an urban renewal in their own will and against the chairs of urban renewal. They need to move them. When I approach the person about it, they tell me they don't care. If the prime minister send me back to cabinet, I'll go back peacefully. I don't care. Thinking she's somebody. You understand? They need to move them from there because they only causing problems for urban renewal.
I appreciate what you're saying. I appreciate it, LH. Thank you very much for your call. I appreciate it. 325-023546. So everybody's got some concerns about it. You can express your concerns today just like he did. And we're an open line. I've just been throwing some bits and pieces out there for you to bite on if you want to. But I suppose that you'd rather have me talk than talk yourself, I suppose. Well, the Prime Minister's saying a lot of stuff these days. I'll tell you what he's saying after this call. Hot copy, how are you?
Hey, good day, Mr. McKinney.
Hey there, how you doing?
Man, everything cool, man. Thank God for life.
No.
I want to follow up on something with LH have to say. What happening too, right, Mr. McKinney? What happening too, right? A lot of members of Parliament sending their people, their constituents to the persons in urban renewal, right? Now, some of the guys in urban renewal, I agree that they are pussyfooting around. Now, persons like Greg Butler, working. Craig Butler, Smiley Butler, son, he working.
That's Greg. Greg is his name.
He could do. I know Ricardo Smith them up there. That's why LH ain't into them like that, because every time you come up there to make little noise, not really make noise well, to say, well, when you're going to give me the contract, or when you're going to pay, or when you're going to do this, he's the big bad wolf. He's come out like he's the Prime Minister, Mr. Brave Davis. Like he's so big and bad, you see.
My friend Ricardo.
Just Ricardo Smith, yeah. You see, LH, I'm scared to call him, but I don't have no problem with him. But every time I go up there, I've been up there this morning, I've been up there the day before yesterday, a lot of people is be up there waiting to see Mr. Butler. And these members of Parliament, they're a little dangerous too, because they're saying a lot of words to Greg Butler, and they frustrate Greg Butler. You see, Greg Butler, they frustrate him at times. I understand his job. It's a serious job, Mr. McKinney, and LH know what he's saying, but I don't really want to get into that just like that. But I think a lot of persons in this country need their homes fixed, like the poor people, and Mother Pratt and Arjun and Allen, along with Mr. Butler up there. They're helping a lot of people, whether you use FNM, PLP, or DNAs. They're helping you. I see some persons in Nassau Village right now. They support the government, but we fixing their house right now. We trying our best to do what we could do.
So, Bannister, you involved with construction and all that too?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. I do them kind of things. I have a company. I have people who do work for me, landscaping and Aaron Bailey and National Insurance and things. I do them things. But you know, sometimes they'll make you a little angry because they take a little too long to pay. Now, I have a problem with Ministry of Works, Mr. McKinney. Ministry of Works right now, they don't call nobody and tell nobody that, well, y'all can't get paid yet because the Prime Minister hasn't signed the paper for y'all to get y'all money. But every May this has happened because of the budget. But somebody should come up their royalties and say, look here, y'all ain't getting paid till next month or y'all ain't getting paid till next week. All those persons in accounts, the people that's want row, the people in accounts, it's not them. It's Mr. Christie and it's Michael Alquida. And you could also blame Mr. Davis too, because Mr. Davis, with a stroke of pen, can say Michael Alquida's on Mr. Christie. Sign the money so the people who clean in the parks and who clean in the road get your money. Mr. Davis helping a lot of people. But some of the things I don't like how security officers allegedly working up there, getting contract, all these police officers allegedly around the Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister getting jobs. That ain't supposed to be so. Poor people in the PLP and the FNM who ain't get no job, they should have job, not because you ran the Deputy Prime Minister and the Prime Minister and you should believe you should get all the promotion and get all the contract. That's wrong. Allegedly, that's wrong. So if the PLP slip and lose, a lot of those police officers who are on the Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, they can send them Aucklands and Cook Island and all about it, and some of them can even get retired. That's just my little point for the day. But LHR a little point, they need to shake up a little bit in the urban renewal. But Greg Butler, he all right. He only can do so much when these wild people sending some of these people to them to get jobs. And some of the people are bad attitudes to you. Some of these people can't on bad.
I hear you.
Right?
I appreciate it.
For the day. Just to clear up something what LHR to say. Thanks, man. Enough respect.
I appreciate it. Well, that's a part of the whole scenario with politics and profiting of politics and cashing in on deals and that kind of stuff. And a lot of these young fellas, though, they have the talent to do the work, and hopefully that they'll be paid when they work. And I'm sure that they would eventually. But that's just a little bit of what you call the Ghetto News Network. And when you hear the Ghetto News Network go live and they show you what is happening, it gives you an idea as to what kind of stuff that we're dealing here and how the big boys of politics and the big administrators of government are involved at these levels of discussion. And, it's sometimes it's pathetic, and sometimes it just makes you go, what is this? It's no wonder why we're in the position we're in. There's supposed to be people who are supposed to be dedicated and designated for those kinds of things, and it shouldn't be where anybody can just point right back and say the Deputy Prime Minister, the PM, and all that kind of stuff. But then again, I don't run the government. This is how it's done, I suppose, under this watch, and so you'll hear a lot of stuff like that, I suppose, in the future. Odia, can you please bring my text messages now? I want to read them before we end the day. But before I go, I have to tell you this. I've been meaning to read this to you for the record of hard copy since Monday after the carnival. The party stopped on Saturday. We had Mother's Day on Sunday. There was nothing much that mothers got this time around except a lot of tired folk who couldn't make Mother's Day dinner or who did some kind of a gift any kind of how. And shame on us. If you're a part of that kind of thing, that's not supposed to happen. But that's because all the concentration was on the carnival. And I got a letter first thing Monday morning that told me this. It says, "Good morning, Miss McKinney. I pray this message find you in high spirits. I felt compelled to send this email today in an attempt to set the record straight on what went terribly wrong with this weekend's event, namely Bahamas Junkanoo Carnival. It says, initially, I had no interest in this event in any form. And at the 9th hour, I was handed an application for vending and thought it divine intervention. I can elaborate, but not now. So, with no great expectation, I submitted the application with all the required documents. Needless to say, says the letter writer, we got approval and moved quickly to secure our space by paying the mandatory vendor's fee for the area that they were designated to, $300. The letter says, we subsequently sat through a 3.5-hour meeting at Breezes Resort, where the 100-plus selected vendors were taken through the orientation of what was expected of them and what the festival committee or commission would be providing to ensure the success for the festival and its participants. She says, the CEO, Mr. Oscar Dames II, exclaimed that we, the vendors, will need to raise our mode of operation to that of an international caliber. He also drafted for us a verbal resume of sorts, describing how many times he had organized an event of this magnitude in the United States and other Caribbean islands, if I'm not mistaken. I tell you no lie, Ms. McKinney, I started listening and I got excited to know that something that I was originally opposed to, could possibly take budding entrepreneurs to a global stage and gain much needed exposure for Bahamian artisans themselves included, or Bahamian artisans ourselves included. This person says, Mr. McKinney, I got my first disappointment when I went to collect my vendor's package and credentials on Wednesday evening, when these items were stated in the meeting to be ready on Monday. But she said, I went to get them on Wednesday. May the 4th, despite being tasked with taking and paying for passport photos for 3 persons in order for the commission to produce photo IDs as a security measure, what I got instead were paper wristbands, no photo ID, paper wristbands, which I was told I needed to keep on my wrist for 3 days or risk paying an admission fee to secure a replacement wristband. Day 1, arrived at the site 9 a.m. for setup because the rules contract stipulated that all vendors' vehicles must be off-site by 10 a.m. as the gates would open at 12 p.m. We did not find our booth in the section indicated in the credentials, and no one in any of the BCC, that means the Bahamas Jungle Carnival shirts, could direct us properly. A half hour later, we were placed under a large tent with various vendors and left to search for our tables and chairs for setup ourselves. Signage was also supposed to be provided for all vendors. 1 cruise ship in harbor. No tourists, no sales. This process is exhausting. I'll try to be brief. Oh yes, no sales. Day 2, 4 cruise ships in, 12 hours at Arawak Key, 4 sales at $14. As to what happened, they were all mixed up. That was a Thursday. She says no sales happened on Thursday because there was no cruise ships. There was nothing. No sales, no tourists, no nothing. She said it was exhausting. She says not a single sale. She says day 2, 4 cruise ships were in the harbor. 12 hours on Arawak Key. In the 12 hours, only 4 sales at $14. She says day 3, 4 to 5 ships in the harbor. 13 hours on Arawak Key. 6 sales at $14. Never received my signage. There were vendors that came from as far as Acklands Island, folks from Harbor Island, staff that needed to be compensated for working. Like I said, Mr. McKinney, epic failure, epic failure. 3 days, we will never get back. And so much more if you get the perspective from other vendors. Don't take my word, Mr. McKinney. I'm only one whose experiences mirrors mine. I just thought you should know what was happening on the other side of the camera. And that's signed V.L. Miller. Not impressed, she says, with the Bahamas Jungle Carnival because it was a nightmare for the vendors. We wanted to read that into the record because I meant to read it from the day that Paul admitted to it. And Paul did say that he agreed that the vendors didn't do as good as they had intended the vendors to do. And he didn't have much of a consolation except that he understood what had happened. And the one on the vendors, he says he understood what had happened. And he felt bad for the vendors. Okay, I thought I had that soundbite there for you. Let's take a line, a call on the line. Hard copy, how are you? How you doing? All right. So you don't have that soundbite where Paul Major was talking about what's in there? No profits. Well, I guess you didn't get it. All right, let's move on. Here's some of the text messages that we got for the day that we want to leave for you tonight as we wrap things up. This text message says, "Hey, Steve, Haitians has already outnumbered us in Eleuthera. It is so bad that they are putting up signs all over the islands promoting Haitian Flag Day. And I was told that a low-ranking official is coming to Eleuthera to celebrate with the Eleuthera, to celebrate with them." She says, "Eleuthera is gone, Steve. This other person says on the next text, it says, website hacking was just an excuse. There is no way a website is a cabinet level issue with all the crap that is happening today, says this person. This other person says, Ms. McKinney, I'm glad you brought up immigration. That means every Haitian out of Haiti would be legalized, would be legalized. These people are not, would be legalized. These people are not honest. They buy birth certificates, is what that person says. Another one says, Steve, that gentleman who was talking about the children are not illegal got to be Haitian, and now they want to tell you. You take that, is what this person says. Another person says, Steve, how could it be that Richard Lightburn could say on behalf of the opposition that if the F&M wins, it will be continuing the carnival? He may be the shadow minister of carnival. And this person goes on to say, the numbers are not in yet. What are they thinking? What is the F&M thinking? The speaker's announcements are the Public Account Committee have not having the local standing to review the matter of public expenditure unless the issues being investigated has been tabled in the House is far beyond erroneous. It will become the epiphany to our democracy. I will prove the death blow. It will prove the death blow to our system. Boy, you got to send a better text in this, of parliamentary governance. It goes against the spirit of why the Public Accounts Commission exists, to be an unfettered minority-controlled government watchdog. The Deputy Prime Minister announced $750 million to be borrowed for BEC. What? Why? When was this decided? They just announced Power Secure. Well, this guy got to start listening to Hard Copy more because Leslie Miller made a big suggestion yesterday. Do you have that soundbite? Leslie Miller suggested something on this show yesterday, and Brave Davis goes to Parliament and do it today. And here's what Leslie Miller says about the monies that they were looking at BEC to improve BEC. Leslie says, man, borrow $750 million and give $300 million to his Meridian if you have to get that Bahama project rolling. Do we have that soundbite? Yeah, well, let's play that one so people can understand and get that done. Yeah.
The critics and the naysayers on something as important as this in Bahama, I got to step down on this one.
Yeah.
I don't think they realize the severity that this country is facing if this project does not open soon.
No, I don't think that many people realize that.
You know, so you can criticize as much as they can say, what happened? Where did the money go? Face where we are now.
Yep.
You cannot let the project sit and remain dormant.
Yes.
After 6 months, you're going to spend another $100 million just for the remedies.
Yeah.
The government this morning, and as the Davis said, the BEC was looking at borrowing, or the government's going to borrow $750 million for BEC. I would suggest that if that was to happen, that the government take $300 million of that $750 million, put it into Bahama, get it with 15 to 20% equity in Bahama, and see that it succeeds.
Oh, I like that.
BEC, we were getting funding from the Danish Import-Export Bank for 85% of the projects at BEC.
Yeah, for the $750 million.
Under the $750, we were getting 85% of the financing from the Danish Import-Export Bank at 4% interest rate.
Right.
For 15 years. We then went to NIB, and we were getting NIB to guarantee the loan for us. Without the government, without the sovereign guarantee. Okay, and we were going to give an NIB $1 million a year for that guarantee. The government could still use that pathway to take care of BEC and save Bahama at the same time.
I got you.
Let the people have equity in this project. I'm telling you, people need to appreciate what we are facing with the severity of this project if it fails.
Yeah.
Do not take this lightly. I'm begging these women. Do not take this lightly. This is no time to criticize and point fingers.
Yeah.
This is a time to find an answer and find an answer now. Thank you, Steve.
And that was Leslie Miller yesterday calling into the show. The day before he said that Christian Doe should fly off to Beijing and meet with the Chinese. Yeah. The day before that, I'm saying, yeah, he was saying that Christian Doe should fly off to go to Beijing, take Mr. Wilshkin with him and Allison Maynard Gibson and go and see the the leaders of the government of China and try to save this project because we can't afford to lose it. The prime minister was in the newspapers today saying that Bahama is not running out of cash. So what's the problem, PM? He says that is all stuff, this thing about running out of cash. It is a multi-billion-dollar project, he says. He says he's been working with the two warring sides, the Ismaili family and the China Construction America, and they are very close to a settlement. So what's the problem? We know that they've had lots of money's problem, but PM says that he denied that Bahama is running out of cash needed to finish the multi-billion-dollar project. Christie denied that. Well, if Christie knows what the deal is, then he should tell us, because everybody else has got it on their tongue that they ain't got no money. They can't pay their bills because the contractors who they have can't get paid. They try to work out something now where they can get paid in installments and on a consistent level in the interim so that they can, keep pecking on the job. But Christie says they're not running out of money. But if they're not running out of money, we have no problem. But then again, they don't look like they could open. But I know you. Somebody else by text says this. Hi, Steve. When parents apply for a birth certificate for their child, the application asks for ID, identification. What I don't understand is how do an illegal person without proper ID or no ID end up getting a birth certificate for their child? It's not hard to understand. It's called corruption. It's called deceit. It's called fraud. It's nothing hard to understand. This person says, Steve, the pot cake may be a pot cake, but he deserves respect. Brave Davis must remember politics is not forever. It was them that put Leslie to manage BEC. That's what that person is saying. Another says this on the text today. It says, sadly, we have created a spirit of entitlement in these illegal immigrants. Sickening is what this person says. I think some people took exception today to the young man who called early in the show. He's just misguided. He's just testing the waters. He's testing authority. That's the first sign. Others tested the authority before, and they talked about Colombian neckties. Nothing happens to them when they say that kind of stuff. Nothing. And so I can't blame them. You give them an inch, they take a mile. You push the envelope. If nobody moves, then everything is cool. That's just the way it is. But we've got a country to build, friends. And on a very sober and serious note, we better start paying attention. We cannot laugh at everything, and we cannot laugh everything away. We cannot just keep sweeping things at the carpet and pretend like things aren't what they are. We are in the phase of reality. We've got to face it. There are many problems that we do have, a lot of which I know. I don't say anything about them because I figured they could work themselves out, or we give the government enough chance to work them out and come clean to the Bahamian people. Like on this Bahama case. For the prime minister to say that Bahama is not running out of cash, my logical question to him, well, what is the problem? See, if they run out of cash and they ain't no money, what's the problem? Because the fellas only want to get paid, The construction guys want to get paid. They want to get paid to make all these corrections to this project that have been made. The corrections to mistakes. They want to do it. But they want to be compensated. But the PM says it's not true. It's not true that they're running out of cash needed to finish the multi-billion-dollar property. Well, if they're not running out of cash, they better get on with it. And what I really want to hear from my nation's chief executive is, what's the penalty for the holdup? What's the penalty for besmirching the character and the image of the Bahamas? You know how much people cussing us in the tourism industry? You all can't do nothing. Can't get a hotel open. Got me bucking online and nothing happening. You're a bunch of fraudsters, lying people of the Bahamas. What's to become of that, Mr. Christie? Is there a penalty for that? Who's going to pay to repair the image of the Bahamas? And now the tourism website has been hacked. Hey, what gives here? What gives here? Is it connected? Well, sometimes my imagination is wild. But then again, I live in the Bahamas, where anything is possible. And so I'm not in error to have a wild imagination when it comes to the styles of governings that I've been seeing in all my days. There's nothing that could be too far-fetched, but still can't be real in this town. You hear what I say? Did I tell you that I understood that little bit of GNN information here, Ghetto News Network. Did I tell you that I understood from reliable sources today that some of them people who you saw, some of them women who you saw with all that G-string and stuff and no clothes on, that they were not Bahamians, that they were flown into the Bahamas, and that they were living at Ocean Key, at Ocean Club. Did I tell you that? I must have forgotten to tell you that. I'm checking out for you, see if I can confirm that. But could you imagine that they were placed there as centerpieces to get the flavor right? As some of these Bahamian women didn't want to dress so. Some did, but some didn't want to dress so. That some girls came into town for the carnival. And a lot of pictures on Facebook with this group that I talk about. Say they was living over at the Ocean Club. But they was dressed like the original revelers of the original Real McCoy Trinidad Carnival. And that's why they was in checking for what nobody say. We were right there watching on the wall by St. Agnes Graveyard. I said, ooh, oh no, she ain't got that on. That's what the woman that was there. Right? I saw this police officer. He's like, oh my God. Oh my. He got on uniform and said, oh my God, they ain't got that on. Yeah, and they was just shaking. They could care less. Ain't our people. But you know, anything goes. Welcome to the Bahamas. 7:15, I'm going home. I hope we have soup tonight. Edwin, let's go home. That's our show for tonight, brought to you by the folks who make it happen all the time.